Welcome to our calculus project. At the beginning, Maries will explain the limits. Then I leave you with calculus jokes with Bishoy, and at the end, a thought experiment will be done by Abdallah.
Hey everybody, so today we're going to talk a little about the limits. So briefly, the limit is the slope of the tangent that passes through a particular point on a curve, and we approximate that tangent by secant lines that passes through the same point. And as the secant gets closer to the tangent, the slope of the secant gets closer to the slope of the tangent. And we get the function equal 2 minus square root of x squared minus 5 over x plus 3. So we can solve this by multiplying by the conjugate. So we will multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate. So it's like multiplying by 1. So we will have limit of x tends to negative 3, 2 minus x squared minus 5 over x plus 3 multiplied by the conjugate, 2 plus x squared minus 5 over 2 plus x squared minus 5. So we have limit of x tends to negative 3 of, if you multiply 2 minus square root of x minus 5 times 2 plus x square root of x squared minus 5, we will have 4 minus x squared minus 5 over x plus 3 multiplying by the conjugate, 2 plus x squared minus 5, which is equal limit x tends to negative 3 of 9 minus x squared 3 plus x multiplied by 2 plus x squared minus 5. And if we factorize the numerator, we would have x minus 3 minus x and 3 plus x. So 3 plus x, 2 plus x squared minus 5, and 3 plus x would go with x plus 3, and we would have limit x to negative 3 minus x over 2 plus square root of x squared minus 5, and by direct substituting in this function by negative 3, we would have 3 minus negative 3 over 2 plus negative 3 all to the power 2 minus 5 square root, which is equal 6 over 4 equal 3 over 2. So the limit of this function would be 3 over 2.
Why do they never serve here at the school?
ده هو لازم بير الصراحه عشان الامتحانات ما بتتحلش من كده.
Because you can drink and derive. You get derive. Because you can drink and derive. And derive. Why do you rarely find mathematicians spending time at the beach? Because they have sine and cosine to get a tan, so they don't need the sun. Get it? They don't need the sun. I'm sorry. Because they have a sine and cosine to get a tan, and they don't need the sun. Get it? How does one result in a competition?
I don't know.
You see, your brain is smaller than any epsilon bigger than 0.
Zero say to 8. Nice bet.
0 say to 8.
أنا 0
Only 0 say to 8.
أنا 1 circle with 2.
بص ان ده كلام I don't care damn about the project. Alright, so let's define an infinite sum S as 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 and so on. Alright, what do you think this sum is going to give us? 0? Can it be 0? So addition is associative as we took in middle school. I can put parentheses right here and then right here to give you and so on. Yeah. Minus 1. So that this is going to be equal to 0 plus 0 plus 0, which is going to be equal to 0. So we can see that this sum is going to be equal to 0. Can it be equal to 1? For example, 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1. If I put the parentheses right here, and so on, I'm going to be left with a 1 here, plus 0, plus 0, plus 0. Is it going to be equal to 1, 0, or is it going to be equal to a half? You might ask, how can it be equal to a half? Alright, so S equals 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 and so on. What would 1 minus S be equal to? 1 minus S, what's S? 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 and so on, right? So 1 minus S is going to be equal to 1. We distribute the negative sign into this parentheses. We get 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1, which is again gives you S. Alright? So 1 minus S is going to be equal to S. 2S is equal to 1, or S equals half. Now, is the sum equal to 0, 1, or half? We don't know. But we can define another sum, S equal to 1 plus 1 half. That's not a half. Yeah, 1 half plus 1 quarter plus 1 eighth, and so on. What's this sum going to be equal to? If we divide this sum by 2, half S will be equal to half plus 1 quarter plus 1 eighth, and so on, which is equal to S, but without the 1. So S minus 1. So you can say that half S is equal to S minus 1, or half S equals 1, S equals 2. Alright, so this infinite sum is equal to 2. Now let's use both these sums. The first sum that we can't find the answer to, is it 1, is it 0, or is it half? And this sum that we know the answer to try to figure out a thought experiment that might give us the answer to the first question. 1, 0, or half. Now let's think of a thought experiment here. We can use a computer to incorporate these sums into algorithms so that we can find out the answer to the first sum, Grundy series. S1 is equal to 1, 0, or half. The computer is going to use S2 as a timer. So for the first minute, after 1 minute, the computer is going to send a signal to the switch
to turn the lamp on. After half a minute, it's going to turn the lamp off. After a quarter a minute, on. Eighth of a minute, off. We know that this sum is equal to 2, so after 2 minutes, this sum is going to terminate, and our result will be the answer to the first sum. How is it going to be equal to the answer to the first sum? For that, we're going to have to look at something called partial sums. Partial sums is basically we're going through the infinite series and taking terms at a time and finding the sums. So for the first 2 terms, our sum is equal to 0. For the first 3, it's 1, then 0, then 1, then 0, then 1, alternating between zeros and ones. After 2 minutes, we're going to have the second sum, S2, is going to terminate, and so will S1. And when S1 terminates, we will find the sum for the we'll find the partial sum for the whole sum, which is S1. All right. All right. So after 1 minute, it's on. After half a minute, off. Quarter a minute, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, at an increasing rate. And then at the end, we'll find if it's off, if the sum is going to be equal to 0, our lamp is going to be off. If the sum is going to be equal to 1, our lamp should be on. After 2 minutes, if the sum is equal to half, if S1 is equal to half, should the light be on or off? Or some superposition between both on and off? If it's half, it's going to be a superposition.
المفروض اعمل ايه يعني؟
Then
square
كنت عايزين تصوروني وانا اعمل كده؟ انا كنت هعمل حاجات.
اعملي بوز بقى عشان عمال ما امسك.